So let's start with Broadway. This is like the first thing you need to establish in Overwatch. What is the most important thing on the screen? It's the simplest answer possible.
Payload.
Payload. It's an objective-based game, so it's a game about space. That's the fundamental thing about Overwatch is that it is a game about space. You need to think about a game like space. And how you think about it as a player is there's two main resources and like ways to affect space. There's pressure and life. So pressure is stuff like, my DPS forcing an angle, or putting pressure on like the enemy tank and forcing them out. Life is stuff like my tank having a fucking block, or an ability that just gives him a bunch of HP, or my supports healing my tank, right? Those are like the two fundamental resources you need to control space and like influence it. That's just like the basic stuff you need to know, like in Nebula. It's like each role uses the resources in a different way, because one unique thing about 5v5 especially is that each role kind of can do all of those things a little bit. It's kind of complex, it's not so simple, but they can largely do most of this. Like supports have decent pressure, but the way they use that pressure is different than how a DPS uses that pressure or a tank uses their pressure alive. The simple way to explain it is think like Kiriko actually is a great example. Kiriko is like a bit misunderstood because she's really awful to push into. Like any flex DPS who's had to play Trace into a Kiriko knows it kind of sucks, because if she hits like Kinko 90, you have to instantly recall. But she's really bad at pushing things. She's really bad at pushing into things. It's easy to punish a Kiriko who just kind of walks into you. That's like Genji, Tracer, Victor excel at forcing things out of pushing in, right? That's just a basic way of understanding the dynamics. Like DPS pressure things out, they put pressure on space. Supports alleviate pressure either by applying pressure to things, like either by like applying pressure back to equal it out, or by just carrying it. And tanks are a bit odd in 5v5, but they can largely do both. It really depends which tank you're playing. But generally speaking, what I tell people with tanks is they maintain space, so to speak. Like, how do I say? Like if my tank's on a corner, the enemy team has to clear my tank off that corner before they can block forward, right? So that's how your tank maintains space. Your job of your tank is to maintain space. Your DPS pressure space, and your supports alleviate pressure on space. That's just a very simple way of understanding. And I am showing Havana intentionally here, because Havana's actually, I hate this map, I'll be real with you, but it's a great example of like how to apply pressure and how angling works. So I think I was really short. This first point's a great example of this, honestly, because it's very simple. Yeah, obviously, like payload's most important thing to control. To control payload, you just need more resources on it. So let's read their resources, right? They have 1 person on payload, 4 up there. They have changes like kind of on low ground. Where are all of the resources, like in terms of space?
On height.
High, right? So we have a choice to make. We either can take that high ground and like take like a just like actually I kind of like this in here, because you can honestly just all 5 as 5 TP up to that high ground, take a 5v4 and walk them down. Or you can use your Dominion shield to basically cut them off, like shield up here or here. Maybe have like one of your DPS try to pressure the other angle while everyone else walks the tank. So we can either like use your pressure to kind of like deny these angles while walking the tank down, or just kind of like all as 5 kind of come from here and like walk and take this space. Like either way, you see like because they have so many people in this space, it leaves openings, right? Because you guys can absolutely just 5-man TP though. There's no reason you can't. That's also why whenever you're attacking, like this is the most important place in the game when you're attacking Havana first. Like you need this space either to like take high and more effectively pressure high, or just get an angle on your tank. Like your first step in Havana attack should be to get usually what I usually call is your off DPS, because your main DPS is like usually your Widow, your hit scan in general. Get like your second DPS, your off DPS to this angle so they can either pressure high or pressure the tank. So you guys, honestly, I think your best bet is to pressure tank here. Look at that, perfect. You guys pressured them out of high. You guys started that fight off really well. I think you just need to like peel more for the. I think you guys need to be worried. Like when you do that, you're never gonna kill them unless the enemy team just kind of like has no brains. Like they don't have eyes, hands, or like mouths. They're not gonna die there. The goal is to force them out of that space, right? So then you can turn the Sigma. Like I imagine you all know what sweeping is, like with a broom. So another concept I'll introduce to you is the idea of sweeping. Like you guys did the forward motion of sweeping, where you swept forward, but then you never swept backwards, right? Like we forced, like this Sig is split, right? Like he's completely in the middle of absolutely Narnia. So keep this in mind. You go forward and backwards, forward and backwards, forward and backwards. Because you do the start of this fight perfectly. They all just dropped instantly.
Should I have stayed high or should I have backed off of high?
I think you stay high because you want to keep your pressure on it so they can't just retake it.
Okay.
Especially because your Zarya, I'm sure your Zarya still has bubbles. Yeah, if your Zarya still has bubbles, absolutely stay high. Yeah, she does. What's the general thing about these Vendetta comps with Zarya is that your goal isn't necessarily to kill things, it's to split the enemy team. You basically, and this is where you basically play like a Winston. Like this plays a lot like the double bubble comps with Winston Zarya, where you kind of just use the Winston to engage and just split off the enemy team from their tank, and then you just kind of walk their tanks down. You basically just want to put yourself between the tank and their team, so your team can walk their tank down in these Vendetta comps. You're literally just quite literally Winston, but like DPS. Good. Okay, okay. Space. So one thing I'll tell you too, this is a micro thing, this is a long way, is the Sigma duel versus like the Zarya and the Zig is all about range. Because he will outrange you. Sigma will outrange you and be really difficult to take care of at range. But if you walk past the shield and get in his face, he's fucked. So I would like to see us get a little bit more aggressive into this specific matchup when we have like this space. Like we should be fucking in there, like in that Sig's face. Like that's when we have to stop playing range. That's what the Sig wants. Like in general, try to avoid playing range versus Sig because that's how he wants you to play. Sig will always win at range. That's where he wants to be. Hanzo. Hmm. Yeah. I think this is like the basic thing is like understanding like how you want to play these specific concepts, like how space works in these things. Because we're doing a great job of like forcing them out, but then we don't really put ourselves in. We're not taking that space after we force them out. It's, see our ults real quick. I want to see how the OG looks. This specific ult combo is like probably one of the best in the game because there's next to nothing anyone can do about it. Literally, the only ability in the game that cannot die to it is Zuzu because it goes through bubbles, barrier. What else? I think it goes through immortality field. It just goes through everything. It's kind of stupid. I don't know why they make Vendetta just kind of go through everything, but yeah, if you do this ult combo, it's a free five. Okay. So again, let's think about like it's in space, right? Like, why was this in terms of space like overextend?
Um, I feel like this here wasn't, but staying as
Yeah,
after I pushed her out,
yeah,
so
that's
then
what
she
I
goes
mean.
headshots.
Yeah, because you forced her out, you took off her angle, but then we kept
Mhm.
pushing like past the, past the choke and out of your team LS. So yeah, this is still winnable though. Anytime you're down one in a fight, you can still win it. But if you're gonna ult in that fight, you gotta do it like immediately because you guys are down this fight, but you have two ults, so you can still absolutely win this fight if you just fucking send it with ults. Like if you just sorry Emerald, also a great ult combo, honestly. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, six really kind of a coffee maybe once you close that distance, especially because of how his shield works and the cooldown on it. He can't proactively shield you like you can, or get into cover against you. It's dead. Okay. So I love this. The reason I love this is like think about it in terms of space. Then your team just to even have a chance to contest card has to fight for this space, and then they can think about contesting card. 10 out of 10. Like this is what we call selling space in like terminology. Where like you're making your team have to spend resources just to take this space, so then they can actually contest. This is beautiful. A lot of teams, like even at higher level, will just kind of play card and make that thing about fighting up and pushing up. So seeing this is 10 out of 10. Perfect. But just keep in mind, like your goal isn't to win here. Like, you don't want to win like here. You want to just make them work for the space. Make them spend time, pressure, life, resources, taking that space from you. You just want to get things out of them, because you guys just want to control point. So the more time you control point, the better for you. I mean, look at this. They haven't even touched the card second point yet, and you're already halfway through. I think we can use some more. We should just be more willing to like, give up that space once you need to give it up. It's perfectly okay to give that space up to a certain point. Once like you push, because with how far the card is, especially, you guys are already in one fight territory at this point, so you can absolutely just back up, play your life. You don't need to keep like, staying there. Really good start to your second point, honestly. Okay, let's see what we solid. Oh fuck, that was a good fucking bubble. I will say as a general micro thing, like always play your cover when you're using Vendetta, especially because it puts you in third person, so you don't need to have direct LOS. I've always like, I remember this. I coached this champ Vendetta player for a while, and he would always kind of just like jiggle peek with his ult. really disgusting.
Okay.
Because like the thing about Vendetto is like it's kind of like Fire Barrage, right? Where like it's really good, but you're also super vulnerable during the ult. Like you either kill at least one or two with the like 2 or 3 with your ult, or you die in the air. That's kind of the thing, is that it is very easy to die with that ult. So playing cover just to help yourself live and guarantee you can actually charge it up and get that 600 swing off is very good. I do like that ult though. Like, oh, we lose our Vendetta, just pop. No, that's good. Like the thing, you probably heard this before. Like overulting is kind of made up. Like it's okay to overult as long as you win the point. So I like these ults because yeah, it's a bit much, but you guys win the point and cap most likely here. You guys look like you're in a really good spot to cap here, which is perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay to overall as long as you win point control. Like a lot of the time when teams say like, oh, well, they use like 2, 3 ults to win that fight, a lot of the time it's just cook. I won't lie. Fuck with that beat. Zero. Honestly, considering like how the first point was going, like that this is pretty fucking good so far. And again, you guys are being proactive and pulling up 10 out of 10. Like I don't see, like I see teams in the expert division not do this, so that's great to see. Like this, you guys have a good like, you guys have good pressure on the space, multiple angles. Like their Sig can only shoot one of you, so he's gonna be taking damage from one of you. Your Hanzo gets a random pick just because that hero's fucking dumb. Like even with the fact that you guys didn't, like you guys get picked off there, you push the card like like halfway through the point for basically just sitting there holding space. Not really, just kind of passively sitting there, which is great. And then you get 3 point of on it because of 3 point of on him. How about that? Especially considering you capped like first point with not much time, and getting that far is like really good. Let's see. Let's share the. Now we get to think about space in a more defensive setting.
Here. It's piña colada, but
Sorry. Hmm. I think there's a. What am I doing? Okay. There's a very simple reason this hold kind of like doesn't work because we have the pressure on this space, but what are we missing? Because we have pressure. What's the other resource we don't have here?
Yeah, sustain.
Same. Like who should we put here with our Genji to help him hold this angle?
Did you ask who should be put there?
Yeah,
Kiri.
Kiri. Yeah, because she can TP out. So if we put our Kiri here with a Genji, it's a lot easier to hold this angle and effectively put pressure on it. Because I'm willing to bet one of the things that happens here is I know the sniper's gonna pick off here, but either way, our Genji's gonna get walked. Damage Chain's gonna see Genji solo on this right side and be like, hey, we can just literally walk him down. Yeah. Knowing like their Widow just like kind of clicking heads, I like where my Kiri is, because my Kiri's putting like pressure on another angle to help force up the Sig. I would like to see my Genji with her, because honestly, if my Genji's here too, he can honestly dash up to this Widow and pressure her while we walk forward. That would help create a lot of space for us. Like right now, since we're in the retake, there's a very simple route to the retake, which is don't stack. And let's see, that looks like stacking to me. I try to find the off angles, try to find ways around them, because we need to create angles and create pressure. Because right now you see we're just kind of walking into their Widows like LOS, and it's gonna be easy for her. Like even like average Widow players will be able to take advantage of that. There you go. She gets shit on there. Nice. I feel like a lot of these fights, my Genji or my Kiriko are both like in the right spot, but they're never together in the right spot. Try to put together more. They speaking like in these comps, there's main heals and off heals. In this comp, your Wu Yang is considered your main heal because he's the one primarily doing healing. He's gonna do at least a lot of the time he should be doing a lot more healing than Kiriko, and Kiriko is the one you want supporting your off angles. So anytime like you have an off angle, you have an off heal, you want them with your flex TPS usually. Whoever's angling really, will play with them. Let your Wu Yang hold right click or whatever on the tank whole game. That's just the general thing Q Wu Yang, and like Q Lucio, it's more you Lucio, you like the off viewers wants to be supporting the angle. But just in general, it's whoever's healing the tank mostly and just like trying to keep your tank up is going to be your main healers, and that's obviously winning in this comp. Whoever has like the more mobility and whoever has more mobility plays with their off angle. Okay. I think the big reason you're getting snowballed on your defense is that you're just not creating like the off angles really to retake space. Yeah, it's a little bit. I'm going to see how much pressure this Widow gets. Again, I like what McGinty's doing. I just want my character with him there because obviously my character's with him there. He's able to sustain and also keep pressure there and make it a lot easier for his rest of the team to walk up because they don't have to worry about the Widow or the Hanzo just kind of like giving them a haircut. Like we're not really like creating space means you take away pressure. We're not really creating space, right? That's how you create space is you remove pressure from the team. And we're not really doing it. We're not removing the pressure before we just try to walk out. And so what happens is we walk out into the pressure and die. Really, it is just skipping steps. Like it's very simple when you think about it. We're just skipping steps. We're not creating space before we try to walk forward into space, and so we just kind of die. Ooh, I just got shit on. That was good. That was really good. Again, I would like to see my Kiriko like little here. As you know, rule of giving Kiriko is you never really want to play like too much, like too close to the support for a few reasons. A, your TP, you want to get as much value as you can of your TP. So kind of creating like more space between you and your team means that there's more space between you and whoever you're TPing away from. And like B, you're generally those generally any carry comp thrives at like taking angles. So like that's another reason you don't really want to stack another support is that it's counterintuitive to how these comps want to play and like why they thrive is angle control. Like, there's a concept called the island for character positioning, and like the general gist of it is like you want to kind of keep like almost like you almost want to social distance from the rest of your team in a way. For most of the fight, anyways, you just want to kind of keep distance, start your fights just kind of like on your own little island, healing things, spamming grenades, and like then when the fight actually begins, then you can kind of like TP towards your team and stack on them and play live. But you don't want to start stacked. Okay. So what else? Oh, I miss Winston.
On Ruse does too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just Winston, to be fair, in this meta. Like, I think, unless they actually nerf Vendetta, we're never going to see Winston again. I think Winston to Vendetta is just, like, actually the worst experience in my life. I won't lie. Like, I love getting just knocked out of my fucking lead by Vendetta. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk about, like, how... Because it's very important in this comp... Because these comps are just very greedy for your flex DPS. So let's see our flex DPS resource usage. One of the most important things, like as a flex DPS, is if you ever are in a situation where the entire team is looking at you, you need to reposition, and that's exactly what happens when this corner turns. Right, we turn this corner, we see, let's go back and see. Because I think it was at least 4 perspective. Yeah, I mean, we see literally the entire enemy team here. So like, let's think about this in terms of space, right? Let's learn what weak side, strong side means, right? Like, enemy team has all of the resources over here, like what does that mean for the rest of the map?
Means it's all open.
It's open. Like you can literally like quickly like take the time to like get over here, slash up here, and like just wedge yourself between the defender team. Right, like you can create space so effectively. Like just don't play in front of like the entire team basically. Because like right now, if
Okay.
you try to engage down main, you're going to die instantly because 5 people are going to shoot you.
That's exactly
And
what
that's really
happened.
true for any effective. Yeah, that's the truth with any effective DPS. Like look for your off angles, look for weak side where the resources aren't. Is that yeah. That's like one of the most useful things like as a flex DPS player, like to think about in your micros, like how many people are looking at me. Because flex DPS thrives when you're hitting flings and people aren't really looking at you as much.
Does that still play the same into double flex? Because here we have a tracer and a vendetta, so should we both like be not in front?
Yeah, I would say your tracer wants to look more to just kind of mark their tracer and like kind of deny their setup, while you look more actually for the engage. And one thing to keep in mind too is when you go in on this comp, you don't have to like stay. Like, we can go back a little bit, for example. Drop the key set once again. Let's see. Right. Yeah. It's like let's say you live here, let's say you don't die here. If you slash in here, you know, you take the space, you force them out. You can then just use your second cooldown, like your spin, to just disengage, and that's perfectly okay. That's perfectly okay to just go in and then just like back out.
So I should be thinking Vendetta more as a character that just kind of gets space for my team rather than someone that assassinates people. And if the assassination happens, it happens. But
Yeah, it
don't
happens,
necessarily
obviously.
go for that.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to first create the space, take resources away, and then you can think about killing things.
Okay. That's a big mindset shift for me.
Yeah. Like that's a general thing with like flex DPS. Like even on like Reaper or Genji here, like you TP in, you dash in, you have to make the question like, should I invest my second cooldown to chase kills here? And really speaking, you're just not gonna get kills. It's not even like a skill issue or anything. It's that they still have full resources. I'm getting shot at. I need to back out, right? Like I need to use my deflect or my wraith to get out, right? It's the same thing with Vendetta. Like I should use my spin to disengage rather to stay in. That's like a big thing as flex DPS to understand. Like pretty much every flex DPS has 2 cooldowns that they can use to create to get out or in. And like anytime you go in, you just need to assess should you stay in or get out, and it's perfectly okay to just get out. Perfectly okay to just say, I can't stay here, like I can't convert this to a kill, I'm back out. That's how you really like take space and pressure space as a flex DPS. Like it's you know great to be hit scan because hit scan kind of just have to sit in a good spot and shoot things, but like, flex DPS I actually think of like their cooldowns and resources in a deeper sense. I would say though, trust your gut. Like if you are confident you can convert something to a kill, trust your gut more than anything. Because if you're wrong, you'll find out quickly and you'll learn from it. Really.
Okay.
Especially in scrims, like that's where you should be making mistakes and learning. Is just trust your gut. Like don't be scared to cook a little, right? Don't be scared to like cook and like be ambitious sometimes. It's way better to feed in scrims than it is to feed in a match. Diva versus like Zarya matchup a little bit, the way it works. So if you have high energy going into a fight or like actively, you can be the Diva. That's absolutely viable if you have that high energy. But if you don't, you cannot be a mirror because by the time you even take out fraction of HP because she has so much armor and health in general, especially with the new passive where she straight up heals herself if she's in the air long enough, so pretty much anytime she uses boosters, you're never gonna kill her. By the time you even get like half her HP out, your team's dead. So going into this type of fight, don't try to charge being the Diva. Go for her too. Like we just gotta party in her team. Because think about it, how much of our like team can she really DM? Like she can't DM our Zarya and Vendetta at least, right? Like, what the fuck is she gonna do? If my Zarya's DMing something, my Vendetta is slash absolutely fuck all. Nothing she can do. And it's honestly pretty hard to fucking DM a Tracer effectively. Those tiny little like projectiles will get through her DM. So going into this fight, especially like in this, it's just in general in this Zarya Diva matchup, don't try too hard to brawl and just like kind of play the front to back and shoot the Diva if you don't have high energy. Just get past her. Like the weakness, the issue with DM not being able to eat stuff like beam and slash isn't that it kills her Diva. It's that it means she can't go for it too. Look at that. Because Loki, you guys had a pretty good chance to kill that Emery if you just like went full on him. I was probably your best bet to win the fight either way, just going full hard on that Emery and trying to kill him. Okay. That Lucius forced out. Return. There we go. Good. Oh dear. Been there, done that. It was just ping. Good fucking fight. No. Okay. We just about beat it. Okay. We would have been a kid more so as a kite if we just had like our beat up or something, which we're just short of. That's fine though. I like the fact that we were thinking of kiting it at least. Look, he's the one thing which I use. You can absolutely grab. Like you can absolutely if it's give nothing else, you can absolutely grab it kind of gets in a rush. Yeah, you guys can absolutely go for your Vendetta Zarya here. Review. In general, whenever both teams have ults, the team that ults first is going to win the fight. That's just like a general rule. So when you're going at each other and you know you both have ults, your goal is to just get your ults off first, find that opening first, and you don't have to think too hard about it. Especially with Vendetta ult, which is just kind of brain dead. Like again, it only thing they can do is Zuzu, and it's pretty easy to force that Zuzu out before you slash, honestly. And then there's really nothing they can do. They can't bubble it, they can't beat it. It's awesome. I don't know why they designed Vendetta like someone's like overpowered in self-insert, but alright. Yep. Mm. Okay. Perfect. Actually, this is great. The 2-3 split is like something a lot of teams do, but the fact of the matter is, it's one of the worst things you do in the game. Like, it's almost never done at a higher level, and the reason is simple. If you recognize the 2-3 split, you have a very simple solution. Walk on one of them. Whoever's closest, walk them. Like, you guys can take a 5v2 here against that Tracer Lucio, and they're fucked. That's like the main weakness of the Tracer Lucio split. Is it doesn't work if engine's also on like a Kiryu comp because they just walk on one of you, and you're dead instantly. So keep that in mind. Whenever you see that type of split happening, all you need to do is pick one and walk hard. Just completely ignore one of their splits. Because right now we're kind of putting our resources like split between them both. Which means that even though we're doing, frankly, a lot of damage, we're forcing a lot of resources, we're not really putting enough pressure on either one to kill them. Like, they haven't really won the fight, but neither have we. Oh, wow, now it's their turn to C9. Cool. Let's see. Could be. Okay, now they beat it, so now we have a choice. Do we stay in or do we get out? We give that back. Okay. I'm okay with that mostly just because this is like we're on the same page at least. Like I didn't see any more ults after the beat. Just fine. You guys have again the best ult combo in the game right here. It's like just in this next fight pretty easily. Solid. Ults are also a resource, by the way. Ults are effectively a big boost to one of your resources, either life or pressure. The same thing with cooldowns, really. They're just kind of giving yourself a temporary boost, either your life or your pressure. Their resources are the same. It's like when we use an ult, we're putting ourselves up resources. If they pop in a return to our ult, then they're equalizing resources, etc. Mm. Okay. So regarding perk choices, who the fuck gets this perk? I've never gotten that perk, and I don't want it because I think it would just fuck up my muscle memory. As I will say, especially against the D.Va, get the beam perk, because being able to just like hold your left click and get damage everything makes it a lot easier for you to follow up on your grabs just by yourself and just do damage. Because your right clicks against D.Va are a little. She can eat your right clicks, she can't eat your left clicks. So getting the beam perk, you can literally just beam her team, and her is terrific. Like when you have a high charge beam and you're just holding left click on a D.Va and her team, they just melt. I will say, the the Tracer Lucio split can work, but you have to be using ults with it. So you just win the fight really quickly before the enemy team can take advantage and like punish you being like so split. So if you're gonna do it, you do have to do it with ults. And you guys have ults here, so let's go. Let's see. Open pulse. I don't think it hit. Oh, it did for Zuzu though. Okay. Match B. Oh my god, you're one. I think just take Vendito a bit earlier. Like I would say Vendito when the beat hits, because then you can actually just straight up charge it up and they can't kill you in time. remember, like, over ulting is fine as long as you win the point. And yeah, that would have been a cap. So don't worry about over ulting. It's not a big deal. Like, he will build another ult by the time this next point is up. Let's see, where is next point gonna happen? Okay. What stands out to me this night is I can tell, like, just like watching we played, we never really made the call to just like all out, crash out in the enemy team and try to win the fight out, or kite the emerald. And you kind of have to make a choice here. Like, when they emerald, do we want to keep fighting it and like just fucking run forward and try to kill his team before he kills us with his ult, or full kite it? You kind of see, just like, by the way my Zarya is positioned, like, we don't really choose anything because we're just kind of sitting there. We need to make a choice, forward or backwards. And to be clear, either can work. It's just about being on the same page and like making a choice. Like, one of the most important things someone told me early on in my career, infinitely true, it's been proven right every single time, is that 5 idiots doing the same thing will beat 5 geniuses doing their own thing. Like, it's a team-based game, so just being a better team is more important than like necessarily being like the smartest or like the best. Just like being on the same plan, being on the same wavelength is more important. Like, so in the future, like when you're in that scenario with the team balls like that, you have to make the call. Are we going in and just trying our best to fucking win that fight, or backing out? Ooh, you guys might win this fight still. Ooh, my Zarya's high energy. You can beam the fuck out of that diva now. Yeah. I do love high energy Zarya. It is very satisfying. There's just something too deeply satisfying about beaming shit at high energy Zarya. Love that we just kind of went past the diva there at some point, because yeah, we can just go faster. Oh, the fact that she gets to make it there's just actually bullshit. Like that fight though. You still have wards. You're not in a bad spot here at all. Again, we spot the 2-3 split. We just gotta walk forward. Like, if you guys have to just walk forward on Samurai here and kill him, then you can force in a Samurai. Especially because of this perk in particular. Anytime you beat, fucking run forward. Like, you can actually just full ascend it with that perk. That's like the main value of that perk, is that you can just have speed boost the entire time you have beat and just fucking go for it and be essentially invincible for several seconds with speed boost. It's awesome. That's the main value of that perk, really, is holding speed boost during beat. Yeah, it's just good. I feel like there was never really a call made to like, go in or back out fully. either can work. Again, just make the call. Trust your gut. If your gut tells you full send it and kill them, go for it. If your gut tells you to back out, go for it. Just make sure you're calling that to your team and you guys are on the same page. Synergy.
How do we?
Much.
Sorry.
Hmm?
How do we get everyone on the same page if two people call two different things?
That's a good question. The general system we would always have is I always like for my main support to be calling this. Simply because my main support, the goal of a main support is to frankly be, as I've heard it called, the noticer. Like main support should have the best awareness in the game. So it should usually be a dedicated person who calms that. It should pretty much always be your main support in my opinion. Because your main support knows how much HP you have, do we have our speed boost, what are our resources, and they also know where people are. Because one of the main goals of pure Lucio, even like the Brig, is to know where the flankers are, because you have to be respectful of them. So generally speaking, I say your main support should be the one making those type of comms, just because it's frankly, main support obviously is the most mechanically intensive role, but also because they're in the best scenario to do it. Like one of the issues with having your tank call tempo is your tank has no fucking idea what's going on in your backline. And that's not their fault. You're not meant to be looking behind you as a tank that much. Like you should, but at the end of the day, if we're in the middle of a fight, I don't expect my tank to turn around and be like, oh god, how's my backline doing? Right? That's why I don't like taking tanks calming tempo too much, because the fact of the matter is it's very difficult as a tank to maintain the awareness you need to effectively make tempo calls.
Is that the same thing with engages? So such as the Vendetta bubble engage?
That should be up to your Vendetta, because your Vendetta would know if she's in position.
Okay.
I mostly for tempo, that's the engage, but for tempo calls, going in or out, just my main support. Yeah, I don't like tanks being the tempo caller because for reasons that are really not their fault, they don't know what's going on in the backline all the time, and that's fine. But it means that sometimes you'll see times where your tank just wants to walk in and kill everything, but you're actively getting dove and your tank doesn't know that. That's why I like main support to calm tempo instead. Almost every successful team I've seen, the main support is the one calming tempo. So far, this is good firing. I get it. I like how we didn't focus on the diva there. We just kind of focused on her team, and she can't do anything about that. You can't DM the Zarya or the Vendetta, so good. But again, I already said that at the first point, but that's the Zarya and Diva matchup summed up. Is the Diva kind of wants you to try to kill her, and you can if you have high energy, but if you don't have high energy, just go for a team. Let's just say in general, just try and kill a team if possible. Diva, even without being a DM, your beam has how much health does tank have again? It's 300 armor. Let's see. Yeah, about 300 armor, and then she gets 50 shields, and then she has boosters, and she gets healed for 75 when she has boosters, pretty much. And then she has remech with her nuke. She's just really fucking difficult to kill. Yeah, she can't kill for a team in this comp. I love it. We're in a really good spot here. Nice. like that a lot. I feel like you guys all like made the choice together to like go meet them head on and just face their ults. So that looked a lot better. Let's see. What's next? We'll Billy John. We'll look at the best map in the game. Okay. Let's talk about the three main types of comps in Overwatch. The one Overwatch 2, anyways. Rush, poke, and brawl. It's very simple. Like brawl comps, think about like Ram or Ryan. Your job is to get in the enemy tank's face and fucking brawl them. Get in their face and just start swinging. Oh wow, wait, what the fuck did Cuba do? Okay.
I almost got it.
The goal of poke is to play your range and just passively apply pressure to their team. Get off angles, keep your range, and just shoot them for range. Rush says, fuck that. Run past the tank and kill their team. Like Queen, Wrecking Ball, like those tanks just want to fucking send it past that enemy tank. Ignore them completely. So here we're playing a more poke comp, right? Like that's very easy to identify with Deminafara, which is fine. But it means that we need angle control here. Like my Pharah needs to be getting over here. Cool. We need to get an angle. I think it's very easy to be scared of taking the off angle because of like the tracer, and it is scary, but it's not that hard of 1v1, frankly. Like if you hit one direct on the tracer, she has to recall. You can always use your concussion and your jets when she goes on you to just live. So don't be too afraid to take this angle here, because not only do you have resources to get out, but you have the ability to absolutely show the tracer. It's a lot easier than trust me. Especially once you get that, well, man, if you have the major break for fire, that one's so fucking good. Okay, we're Vendetta now. I'd say we're probably more brawly now, just because we don't. Yeah, we're more able to just kind of get in the tank of the diva now. The face of the diva now, brawler. Basically, we don't really need to set up angles pre-fight too much. We can kind of just like walk, take space, and play weak side when we see it. You can probably get away with also just swinging on the diva a lot here, honestly. That's a great fucking shoot. Like that shoot does such a good job of creating space for your team, especially your Vendetta, to slash in. Okay, this is actually a good fight to look at closer. We have a very good start to this fight. It was a hard fight for us to win, actually, because they did have ults. They used like 3 ults to win that fight, and we had none. It was a tough fight to win. I was thinking you could have maybe flipped, but you didn't even have Rake Rush to do that, so yeah. I was hoping to talk about flipping there, but let's see if we can this fight. Because now you guys do have a Rush. Okay. least like explain like the general idea of it. So in this fight, we kind of do the same thing where we don't really go all in or all out, and it kind of costs us again. Like really, what we should be doing here is just full set it on the Soch. Like we should do what's called flipping the map, which is essentially if we all go forward together here, especially since like we just kind of can see this angle to the tracer. If actually a different color for the image here, because you see this tracer ends up taking this angle, and that's fine because all we need to do is flip the map. The tracer is gonna make us from here, flip the map. Just go forward. Like we all have the ability to do this. Your Kiri can TP in. Your Vendetta can slash. Your Dominican. Actually, Min uses speed. She can't just block. Especially if she has shield still, she can take space with it. It's why Dominican are playing on these comps, but you can still do it. Either way, we just need to walk forward here. We just need to take space. But again, we do the thing where we kind of are good about it. I think especially if you don't have the tracer, it's really hard to turn map marker, so you're better off just flipping the map. Oops. Ooh. It's good. I like that a lot. We rotated straight to point. We're in a really strong spot here. Like now, we're doing a good job of forcing point. Now that our team has to brawl us on point. This is not good for them at all. Yeah, like with this diva she dies. Perfect. I think I see where we're wrong, so let me see it again. I think it's very simple. Yeah, okay. Let's go back. Let's look at our resources here, right? Especially from our point of view of our team. There you go. You're low in pretty much, you don't have your shield, you're down your crystal. And crystal is generally really good for defensive survivability because you get quite a bit of shields restored off of its damage. And you're also just generally like around half HP. Does Artemina have the means to like stay in or keep putting the space she's holding? Does she have to back out at this point? Like does she have the resources to stay in at this point? No, right? Like she can't, she has to back out. Here we just need to back and stable. Because we've already killed this diva. This diva is fucking dead. Like we turn and kill this diva, we stable, and then we walk back in. We win. But what happens here is we don't really stable, even though we've expended our resources and we need to wait a bit for them to get back. We keep trying to hold space we simply can't. Instead of backing out. Remember that. You probably heard the concept of like a turn. Like, you know, it's our turn to go, it's their turn to go, whatever. Your turn was over the moment you started running out of resources. Like, that's just what a turn means, basically, is you have the resources to go. And you guys just kind of stayed in there when you're like your team at least stayed in past your turn, and usually gets punished for that. Just recognize when your turn is over. Like, you don't have resources to stay anymore? That's fine, just get out. Sometimes the play is just kind of like not feeding, honestly. Like, if you ever watched like high level Korean gameplay, like sometimes there's fights where nothing happens for a minute. They're just trying not to feed. They're just trying to not die first, that's it. It's like if you ever have to kind of just like back out, you don't have the like the resources to stay anymore, that's perfectly okay. one thing I want to look at what the like look at what the new team's doing and like point out like why this is good is like the way they're using ult to kind of just like keep going and stagger us out is really good. That's something you can absolutely do like yourself as a team is like just using your ult to keep the enemy team staggered out. Like we've essentially lost. Let's see. They capped with like I want to say around like 35%. Probably actually less. Yeah, we've basically not been able to take a fight for half the point of this rate because they're just staggering us out really well. And you can absolutely do this to teams too. It's just like stagger them out. This is really good from them. That's like why you need to take full reset. Let's see. And then like proper fight. Let's see. We doesn't look like we ever took a power fight after that. Remember when you reset, like actually reset. I feel like that we gave the opportunity to stagger us and they did a great job taking advantage of it. Like the solution for that as people getting staggered is to just full reset and back out more effectively because we kind of just staggered out there for most of the point. No, we're not going to win this point actually, Imran. God damn. Oh my god. Wow. That was fucking clutch. Okay. Hmm. Playing a little split here again. Like we're like all over the place. Like we have people here, one person main. Just like be on the same page. Talk about where we want to fight. Another thing too, generally speaking with Diva, the reason Diva's so fucking broken right now is that she has the ability to engage and disengage her free. Like she's basically the tank venture. You can flank something, do an insane amount of burst damage with your combo, and then fly out. Like basically, a lot of people kind of have a bad habit of just sitting there and kind of like standing in front of the enemy tank as Diva, which you don't really want to do. You want to just fucking fly in the backline, like just fly in a squishy, wherever you can get the easiest amount of access to with your team, and kill them. Like you are a rush tank as Diva. So keep that in mind whenever you play the Diva. Like you just fucking, you literally just play an ape, honestly. Okay. And we've time for we can waste too long of this. Any preference for which of the rest of the codes I look at, or these are all
Body?
okay.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I do love Nirvana.
You are weird.
Nirvana is fun, but like you have, it's one of those maps where you only have fun and if you're kind of just like scumbags on it. If you just run the like I know exactly what they're about to do with their Farah. Yeah. Yeah, Farah Nubani first point defense is really fucking good. I keep forgetting games. And let's see. Yep, Farah is playing her coast angle. Super duper oppressive, frankly. They're smart enough to have the Kiriko with her supporting her. The very simple advice I'll give you against this is and this is the general thing with Farah, is that she's only going to get value in the longer fights. So your best way to play against this is to just fucking send it. Like, get close enough for your engage and then just go. Just go on her. And try to kill her or force her out. You probably won't kill her unless she just gets like completely caught off guard and shit on. But at the very least, you would just take space from her and like clear this area. And then just like reset and do it again. That's like the main thing. What here's like Farah is that the more you are scared of them, the more value they get. The more you kind of just like play slow and scared, the more they're just going to spam you, poke you out. There you go. I like that you didn't, like the whole team didn't just kind of like ape out after getting that pick. Oh, look, I love that. We went past the Diva, went on her team. That was perfect. Why is there confetti everywhere?
I called that out in the middle of the. I probably shouldn't have, but it was the middle of a fight. I was like, "Why is there confetti on the ground?"
I think it's
Oh.
version on that.
It's April Fools. I think it's April Fools, anyways. Hmm. I mean, I'm glad we made the call to just kind of go forward and try to like just like rush into them. It's not always gonna work, but I'm glad we just made the call. Okay. What the fuck? That's a new one. Wow. Okay. Lovely. You still take that fight, really? Just push the card now. I mean, that was a crazy ult combo to like shut down the Emery ult, but it's alright still. Hmm. At least you didn't dive into the ult. Like, at least you didn't die using it. I think that's better than a lot of Vendetta ults I've seen. Again, I think we're getting locked in a little too much, just kind of like brawling as a diva and like sitting in front of them. Well, like in this meta, you literally just play like an ape. It's so dumb, but that is how you play. You just play like an ape. You just like fly hard on things and kill them. It's so dumb, but that's just the meta because I don't know. They just don't want to nerf boosters. I'm not convinced that like the boosters minds aren't paying the dev team to keep diva meta.
You know.
Yeah. Beautiful. My front line went really hard, created a lot of space. Yeah, your back is fine. Yeah, your rear back is fine. Okay. I think overall that's a really good fight. I think it just comes back to the same thing that I talked about earlier, which is like you need to go in or out together, especially when they start to use ults. Because they were probably gonna lose one or two because of the ults, but you could have still won the fight if you at least hold back down stable together, or just get going on together. I would say stable backing there is the better call, but either way. See that fight again real quick. Here. Yeah, just look how much space you create by just kind of ignoring the diva and full sending it onto her backline. You create so much space and take so many resources from them. Like, look at that. That is like just like perfect diva, like Vendetta comp. It's just full sending it. Like, that's what every engagement should look like, really, for you guys. Yeah, I think you guys just get split in the mid fight. Like, your diva kept putting that space after your Vendetta head back down. I think, really speaking, your Vendetta probably could have afforded to stay there, up there, help your diva. I think there were like a lot of things. It just comes down to you guys got split and you're just on the same page. Let's just talk to each other. Think in Flex DPS, you're talking to each other a lot because you're bubbling your Flex DPS, you're going into Flex DPS, and vice versa. Like Flex and the Flex DPS and Tank should always be talking to each other and being on the same page, like regardless of comp. You guys are almost always playing together. Like Flex DPS is fundamentally just off tank now, honestly. At least in Overwatch 2, like you're just the new off tank. You do a lot of the things that off tanks used to do. Let's see our defense now. Let's see. Wow, that is a fucking disgusting comp, but it's absolutely valuable here. You can just walk the diva down. Just walk her down. I think the computer it can work. You just again just like, walk the diva down like hard. Like he cannot do anything if you just put WM on her. Yeah, that. Wow. That's actually disgusting. I love it. Like, just have your Diva hold DM on you while you're putting beam as him so you don't die. That was a pretty far stagger. Yeah, you guys are going to give up a good bit of the first half a point. Really, you guys just get snowballed here, and it's just for simple reasons. Like, if you ever listen to Pokecoms, you probably hear them sometimes talk say stuff like, "Can we walk? Can we go?" And like that is a great example of why, because like there's multiple times where someone tries to walk forward when you guys aren't quite there yet. You guys aren't quite ready to start walking forward and retake, and so they end up dying, and it kind of just staggers out the entire second point. Let's see you guys hold at third point down. I love it. They're Unibani, a classic. I love third point hybrid map. Third point on hybrid maps because they're just almost always impossible to capture. Wow. They fucking hate Yummy. They do that every time you want to.
I don't know how they didn't cap here.
They ran out of ults. They didn't have any ults to close up the fight. Yeah. Wow. I'm actually amazed. That was actually fucking good. You guys kind of just played your life, and once they were out of ults, it just became impossible for them to close out the fight and cap. seemed like a miscom there, really. Oh, wow. I was wondering, like, okay, how do you guys hold this one? Oh. Well, now I'm curious. I want stuff from their perspective. That's stuck. Oh, I'm reading.
The Wu Yang just jumps into it.
That's actually amazing. It's aesthetic delivery to post bomb into the background, right? This goes to OT. Wow. Another very solid fight where you use ults and you kind of just like went past the diva. I mean, they get a DMX, yeah, they die, yeah. They essentially just traded when you guys have spawn advantage, so that's not good for them. Okay, surely they cap here. Okay, yeah. That was a fucking third. That was honestly the average body fit point. That's a good push real quick. All right. Really, like the team matchup, like is very similar here for like the Sig and the Zarya. Where like if the I mean for the Orisa and the Zarya is for the Sigma and Zarya. Where if the Orisa maintains her range, she can absolutely poke you out. But if you just kind of close the distance and get in her face and brawl her, she's fucked. Just respect her gold form, honestly, because if she is smart, she'll hold her gold form until after you use bubbles and then kill you. That's like the big cooldown for us you have to expect is her gold form, because you do basically no damage to her when she has gold. So do keep that in mind. And if it's a shield perk, she can be decent still, but it's still a very favorable brawl for you. Nice. How is it chain? Hmm. Steelers last good, man. the Genji's applying a lot of pressure, right? That's one of the things keeping like our hit scan from like swinging really deep or taking an aggressive thing, right? Is the enemy Genji potentially dashing on him and killing him, right? So like when we get the pick on the Genji there, should we like just kind of full send it, or should we kind of like just get our hit scan up first? Like we start off with a pick onto the Genji, and that's a really good pick, honestly. It alleviates a lot of pressure. But I feel like RZR just kind of like goes too far ahead when all we really need to do at this point is just set up our hit scanning goal, right? Like our hit scan should be able to just shoot their tank for free at this point, and they can't do a whole lot about it.
So this tank should have held back a little bit, stabilized.
Yeah. We're up in pressure, so play that. Here's like a general rule: if you are up your DPS, you'll win shorter fights. Not short fights. You'll win the brawl because you'll just have more damage on the tank. You'll out damage. Yeah, you'll kill the tank before they kill your tank. So if you're up a DPS, focus their tank. If you're up a support, focus their DPS. Yes, even like if a support dies early in a fight, tanks have so many cooldowns and abilities that they don't die. Like they can live past their supports for quite a bit if these are cooldowns well. And since you guys picked the DPS here, you should just look to shoot the tank and force them out first. Because really, like, what kills though is the fact that you didn't at least force the tank out because it kept your team from pushing up with the Zarya and let you die. That's really what happened there. Because like, Orisa was forced out, allows your team to push up with you and like play with you. Respect to Orisa. And don't skip steps. Generally speaking, always force enemy tank out. The only times in which you really can't is if you're playing like a hard rush comp or have ults. I think if we were going to try to go to the Resident Walker team there, we needed to use more than one ult. Everybody's speaking there, again, she's just thinking like we have to turn theirs at some point because we had forced her entire team out. Even if we didn't kill them, we forced like her entire backline out, and we could have just turned her into the Genji and probably killed them both. Like Orisa's issue, and the reason she's kind of like not meta right now, isn't that she doesn't do damage, it's that she's really easy to kill, honestly. Like she has a I think she might actually have the biggest headshot hitbox in the game. She's really easy to force out and poke out and do damage to if you just shoot her, but we're not really doing the shooting her part, so she's able to live shoot for the game for free. That's why we're struggling here against the Orisa in particular. He's like, yeah, this tank is kind of bad, frankly. I think she is bad right now. But the reason she's bad is because she's really good to shoot, and we're not really taking advantage of that. So she's able to largely kind of just do whatever she wants. Yeah, okay, we have time for Midtown too. I love Midtown, actually. I think it's one of the better hybrid maps.
I like the dark maps.
They are definitely easy on the eyes. I don't know why, like, they sort of fixed it now, but like, I feel like it gives people blind to play on during the morning. Your Watcher's also better to play now too. The sun fucking blinds you. Ooh. I mean, like obviously with a poke comp here, so just keep your range. Yeah, I actually think that was a really good fight for us. Like their hazard is just his resources to take space, and we just pull back a little and poke him out. Beautiful. Point at least he gets caught, but that is just eventually what happens sometimes. Like sometimes your main support just kind of fucking dies. Just think of flex TPS really. Because they're gonna go for that cat noon at some point, aren't they? It is a good one, although I like the visor cat more. It's just funnier. Oh, that's fucking clever.
Paratrooper.
The one thing I would say about cat comms in general is they take away a lot of resources from the tank, frankly. Switching against them, like, keep your pressure heavy on the tank. Play really hard for your poke. It's fucking crazy. That's fine. Getting a bit scrappy. Okay, you guys can reset here though. You can get a fight at first corner, possibly. Okay. Oh. Awesome. That's so fucking. I do think of playing the poke against the cat doesn't work. I think you can go for the other extreme where you just play like a queen cop or something and force it on his back line. Let's just play hard, ignore him, play like a Winston or a Queen Rush, and just kind of go really hard on him. Oh wow, he missed that all. Yeah. Cat comps are always kind of annoying to play into because you can't really play to kill him. Because if they're a good cat player, they will be extremely hard to kill. I think of it kind of like think of it like a mercy comp where like they're putting a lot of resources into this one thing. Like they're dedicating a whole support to doing this. And And frankly, like it's like trying to kill the plague in a pharmacy. Like it can work, but it's a lot of work when you can, in most cases, just kind of walk down their tank or walk down their other support, and it's arguably easier to just do that. That being said, their cat is just kind of like expediting their cat's deaths right now. Oh dear. He almost just fucking FedEx that bomb into his backline. That fucking ragdoll is not real. Jesus Christ. I don't see Jetpack at all because he's banned almost every game. Aw. Yeah, like right now, for example, like the Tracer's trying to take up. Basically, this is you're trying to take up 1v2, and you're just never gonna win that. Like unless you're just literally like in fucking flow state, you're never gonna win that 1v2. It's just because it's 2.
Yeah, I
Like,
find
wait.
myself like the reason I ran up there to do that was because I for some reason didn't know that there was both of them up there. Like I thought he got dropped off by the cat, so I find that happening a lot, where lack of information is like ruining what I'm trying to do.
Right. I think like the moment you just get it there, you can just like use your blinks to get it out.
Mhm.
Because you probably wouldn't know that going up there, because you are obviously going to be the one doing the scouting as Tracer. So just use your blinks to get it out when you do scout that. Because they can't chase you, is the thing. Like if you push them and try to keep going for the kill, they can kill you. But if you just back out instantly, they're basically not going to kill you. If their cat chases you, like he's gonna isolate himself. I get it, honestly. I would also chase the cat there. I want to put that bitch in stew sometimes. Okay. Once. Wow. Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess Weaver, just go hard. Like, there's no reason for you to respect that support at all, especially as Diva. You can just find him and kill him, like, pretty free. You can't even reliably use his pedal because he gets booped off of it by you. It is kind of like not great to pick a poke or like brawl against a Weaver because he can be not terrible in those scenarios. Like Bro did for a bit play Weaver on circuit because he's not like his output isn't like awful. He can generally be pretty good in those settings, but if you just kind of go on him really hard and kill him, he is a bit of a coffin baby. He can't really defend himself because he doesn't have good enough mobility to, and he doesn't have like any threat to him really. And he can't grip himself too, so he really doesn't have many options if you just go hard on him. Where's there? Hazard. That was good though. Kaidanu. Wow. Hmm. Remember when Hazard ults like DM straight up in the air because that's like how you reach his goal. That's a hard fight because we basically could have ulted back to a 1-5 still. Like we could have probably bobbed and we would have won the fight still. Maybe rush just to get Yuzu back quicker and increase your healing a little bit. Oh. I think we just didn't really anticipate them ulting backwards, so our reaction was just slow. I think just always like if you always be aware of like how you want to respond to enemy team as well, like beforehand. Like if they Kazuto, what am I gonna do about it? If they Kiriko, what am I gonna do about it? Like do I want to kite it, match it? I think that's what just happened that fight. They just took a ring gauge and we didn't really have a plan. Even though we had ults, we didn't end up using any of them. And remember, ulting is fine as long as you win the point. As long as you're the ones with the point after the fight, you can overall. It doesn't matter. Ult economy is a little made up. It's the thing I've been saying on Diva, but like the goal of Diva and the reason she's so good right now is you just fly in the back lane for free and you physically cannot deny it. Like maybe the Juno break can, but if they're playing Juno break into like a Vendetta, for instance, they're gonna get fucked either way because God, Vendetta completely shuts in the back lane. Like Vendetta just actually eats a Juno break up. I mean, we did technically match the Haswell with beat there. Technically. Okay. What are they doing? Their Bap just hit a 1v1 their Ash. Okay. That was good. Babson is going to be a bit annoyed to play into his Diva, but realistically speaking, he can still get away with just fine really hard on them. Just make sure you break a lot of the Zen if he gets rid of you. Like all you need to do is break out less for like 2 seconds and it'll wear off and be on cooldown for like 10 seconds, I believe. Okay. Ooh, there has. Whoa. The short perk is way better on Sim.
Say again.
The short perk is way better for Sim, by the way. I will say that. Like that shield makes it a lot easier for you to kind of just like build beam on the tank. Makes it a lot easier to kind of just like brawl and hold left click on the tank if you get the shield perk on for the shield perk major for Sim. I think we had like the perfect reaction to the first fight we had against the Hazard, where we didn't just like react to him. When he went on us, we backed up. We put space between him and us, and we never really effectively recreated that same reaction. Like I'm gonna go back to that first fight real quick. That first fight was like the perfect way to react to the Hazard roll. I mean, the Hazard engage. Like, see, we back up out of his team's LOS. Great fucking shield. And then we just turn squeeze him out. Like we put range, we backed up, then we squeezed him. We squeezed him out. I feel like we're really doing that. Like it's really important that when a tank like has or Winston even like goes on you like that, you put distance between you and him. Because just standing in front of him is what he wants. He's going to kill you because he has a shotgun and a block that does damage automatically. I feel like a lot of time when he goes on us, we're just not using our abilities to create space. That's a big thing in general. I think as a hit scan is the tank is going to engage you more often than not. Like that's a big dynamic in Overwatch 2 is that the tank wants to just kill the hit scan all the time. Like your 9 times out of 10, what the tank is going to engage on first is you the hit scan. And you always want to see if your cooldowns for when that happens. Like you always want to see if social slide for when that happens and put space. Coach gun for when that happens and put space. Phrase updraft for when that happens and create space, etc., etc. It's always important you save your cooldowns, like your movement cooldowns, or when the tank goes on you, so you can live that. Because that's exactly what you did there, and it was perfect. Oh, that Pierce got shit on too. We don't really recreate that same success throughout the rest of the map. So now that we not really like effectively punish the Hazard as much, Winston just never gets the opportunity to kill him. Yeah, that fight was just yeah. I think basically we're better off TPing onto the Zen, okay? Because if we take our Discord over early, it helps our diva a lot, just like farm the team. Yeah, we can absolutely pass through the left side here and just go into the Zen. Like, let's see, let's think about space again real quick. There has this one choke, and like the first thing we need to think about how we're gonna force him. Simple answer, let's get our DPS in like an angle like this and start like, squeezing them out, right? It's like this is one of the weaknesses of Sims that you can't really do this as effectively Sim. Like if we have a tracer sling here, a tracer can help mark their tracer out, and then we can take an angle on the tank and then force their tank out, right? Like in an ideal world, this is how we work this, is that we have a tracer instead of the Sim, and we just take the single against their tank and force them out. Okay. You're really then we also are again like going past things, not sweeping. Like we'll take space, but then we won't clear it. Remember, like you guys sweep like a broom, forward and back, forward and back. Oh yeah, my God, it's so dumb. I think that was all the maps. Okay. Aw. Let me get like some journal notes for you guys. Like, think about. Like, that's the first thing I give you. Is just think about space more. Like that was it's the first thing I covered because you just think about it in space, in terms of space more. It's like the easiest way to think about the game is it's just space. It's just about who's on the point longer, who controls the point longer wins. It's really simple. It takes a lot of like the complex shit, like you know, that you sometimes see like people talk about. Like, it doesn't need to be that complex, really. Like you just gotta stand the point longer than them, and you win. Two. Words. The first tank out. That was a big thing also too, is that we do consider an issue like not forcing their tank out after we go. Like we'll create spaces that we want secure. So try to be more cognizant of that. Try to force their tank out a bit more proactively. Like unless you're in a hard rush comp, one of the first things you do before you like walk really aggressively is always force the tank out. You can go past the tank if you want again. Like if you're not ulting and just like running past him, you gotta force him out first. That was like honestly the entire reason that we were stopping was just like really lopsided. The tank never really got forced out, and so the rest was kind of just able to do whatever she wanted. So also like comms. I kind of talked about what each person should be calming. Like my flex DPS and tank should be talking with each other a lot, especially about engages. Like in any comp you play nowadays, it's pretty much down to the tank and the flex DPS calming what engages. So you two should be talking to each other a lot. You guys should have a lot of back and forth of like targets. Do you want to go? And 3, 2, 1 your engages. That's such a small thing, but I'm telling you, 3, 2, 1 your engages is super important for time. One of the most important things you can do is 3, 2, 1 your engages. And then my main support should be calming in and out. Like my main support should be the one talking about tempo. Like, do we want to play aggressive? Do we want to play in? Because my main support should have the best knowledge of resources and and how many we have and how many they have. Flex support hits again, frankly, we don't need to calm too much. Like I just want my hits again calming what they're shooting, and if needs help. Flex support is honestly the role where you can afford to calm the least. That being said, do talk to your team, and like if you and this is a big thing is that if you're the flex support and you need your tank to like stop taking damage, tell them that. I feel like a lot of flex supports don't listen, they can tell their tank to stop taking damage and chill the fuck out, and that's fine. Because the fact of the matter is, your tank it doesn't really know when they need to chill sometimes because they're too focused on going forward, which is kind of their job is to go forward. So you do need to tell your tank for their sake, chill the fuck out. Stop moving. What space? Force the tank out? Comms and generally sweeping. Like we kind of have the idea of like going aggressively onto the backline and forcing them out down. Like we did a really good job with that in some instances, but where we would go wrong with that is we wouldn't like force things out and then clear out clear out what's still in that space, right? Like we would go past the tank and then not force that sweep out their tank, or we would go past other targets, but then not clear them out of their space and then let them get off like 2 or 3 trades. And it's just an immediately more scrappy fight. So keep that in mind. Sweeping is so important. And this is really basic stuff too. And that's good, frankly, that you don't have complex stuff to worry about. Like there was some really good stuff there I saw. You guys are really close to putting it together. Just like focus on like your basics and your fundamentals, and again, think about space. The simplest thing you can do is think about space, like pressure and life. That's like the simplest way to think about Overwatch. Like you're just trying to put more resources on the payload objective than that's it.